We are here today to honor the memory of Martin Luther King Jr. and those like him who fought for liberty and justice for all. This man, and many others as we shall see, shared one simple idea: all are created equal, and all are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's one thing for us to quote words like these, but it is quite another thing to carry the burden of defending them. Persevering through discrimination, anguish, imprisonment, and insurmountable odds, Martin Luther King Jr. and those like him gave humanity the gift of an idea, a hope of a dream, and a legacy that shall never be forgotten as long as we remain. On January 15th, 1929, Michael Luther King Jr. was born, but later his name was changed to Martin. King skipped the 9th and 11th grades and entered college at 15 years old. Interestingly, he only earned a C in public speaking class in his first year of seminary school. In 1954, King became pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church of Montgomery, Alabama. He completed his PhD and was awarded his degree in 1955. King was only 25 years old at the time. King's life changed when Edie Nixon, head of the local NAACP chapter, met with King and other local civil rights leaders. Rosa Parks was just arrested and fined for not giving up her seat to a white man. Planning began for a citywide bus boycott, and King was elected to lead it. After 382 days of walking to work, harassment, violence, and intimidation, Montgomery's African American community finally brought about the end of segregation in public transportation. From then on, King became a powerful leader in the civil rights movement. He was one of the founders of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and they called for nonviolent protests to promote civil rights reform. King's participation surged him to a national platform. And for many years, he continued to peacefully protest and lead the movement by word and by example. After arrests, persecutions, and immense opposition, King eventually made plans for a massive demonstration on the nation's capital. On August 28, 1963, the March on Washington drew more than 200,000 people in the shadow of Lincoln Memorial. It was here that King uttered those famous words which have forever changed history. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Thanks to King, the civil rights movement produced a strong effect on public opinion. This resulted in the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed discrimination in publicly owned facilities. For these historic actions, King received the 1964 Nobel Peace Prize. On April 4th, 1968, while standing on a balcony outside his room at the Lorraine Motel, Martin Luther King Jr. was struck by a sniper's bullet, thus ending the life of one of humanity's noblest patrons. How do you sum up a life in a few words? How do you measure the weight of a soul in the matter of moments? You do not. You cannot. But you can pray for rest, and you can pray for light. And you can remember. You can always remember. David Crowder. If each single life is so indescribable, how much less can the weight of King's legacy on an entire nation and society be measured? How can the complete impact of his leadership be seen? Surely it cannot. Only some of the trials of the great man known as Martin Luther King Jr. have been shown here, and yet there are many hardships of his patriotic plight which are yet to be fully grasped. Needless to say, no matter what color we are, we all owe a great debt to MLK. Let us never forget his legacy, and let us always follow his example.